What I'm about to say is my own views. It doesn't mean that I'm right, and it definitely doesn't mean you should agree with me, but here goes. So I thought I'd start with a few memories. First of all, of alternatives. One of my first memories of you was in 2004. There was a big conference on restorative justice in the Hilton Hotel, and this naughty group from alternatives turned up with a kind of a pamphlet that was in the shape of a water bottle. Do people remember that?
Yeah.
I still have some of them. I mean, it was really, really clever.
Describe some of the stuff.
So it was like a description of who alternatives were and what they were about, but it was produced in the shape of actually the pamphlet looked like that. So it was very eye-catching, and it was really clever, and it was everywhere in the conference. Now, there were about 100 people from Denmark at the conference, and in terms of history, it's always, people's version of history is always interesting, but alternatives weren't allowed to even put a stand up at the conference by the government. They weren't allowed to put a stand up. They certainly weren't given a workshop, and they definitely weren't going to be on the main stage. I don't know if you remember that, Debbie.
And weren't actually allowed to put things on the sheet either.
I didn't really know anything about this, to be honest. I didn't really know very much about restorative justice, and you could probably argue still don't, but I thought it was outrageous, and I remember I had a short slot at the main microphone to talk about the university, for whatever reason, and I used most of the time to talk about alternatives and CRJ, and to the Danes in particular, to say that in case you don't know, there are people doing restorative justice work here who aren't in the statutory sector, and we're doing it for a long time. For example, youth conferencing was launched, and two people just were going to get me. Stop speaking. Anyway, I just want to endorse what Kieran was saying about your organisation's role as pathfinders, and I would just like to say initially just a tribute to the leadership of the organisation. My memory of those early days were of Tom, who I've never really figured you out. Tom, of course, were quiet and mysterious, but with a sort of dignity. For me, anyway. William Mitchell, who I think has moved on, and then Billy and Debbie. I think they're quality people, and I think organisations are made up of people. And I'm going to say something about that later on. Anyway, some thoughts from me to you. I think you're leaders in many ways. You do have a model of practice. You've got very good governance systems that are recognised now by the Inspectorate, among others, and you have people who can see both the small and the big picture. So how can we use this going forward? I think the community sector now is more complicated than it was 20 years ago. For any one agency in it, in the restorative justice movement, to put its arms around everything. It has, I think, serious fractures in both the PUL and CRN communities. So for example, last year I was in Derry and Scaban, worked with 5 different community organisations who all say they're restorative justice organisations, and they're all separate, and none of them are recognised by the Inspectorate. That's complicated. And there are ideological, political, territorial, and I would also say personal factors that run through that. But I think what's needed is you need to have big conversations. People need to be talked, sat down and talked with and listened to, and you have people who are skillful at that. I don't like people being demonised. I don't think it moves things on. I still think it happens here. Now the state is a funny creature, and I think Brent was implying that. I think the Inspectorate have been very important and supportive, and I would say that under Brent's leadership have been far more proactive than they were 15 years ago. The training preceded the inspection, Tom actually didn't follow it. But I think there are still ambivalences in other parts of the state. I think there's still some old prejudices. It's very hard to talk about that openly or publicly, but that's a personal view based on the number of people I talk to and where I go about. Nevertheless, the conversations with those organisations and people should continue, because that's a process of education and development. But you will know this, you can get some of the most open and progressive people in the same organisation, where you get other people who, when the doors close, will say, what do they know about anything? They are, and they'll label you very negatively. I wanted to encourage you to take your own personal practice, and I know some of the people in the room from the course. Like I met the two gyms in the way, and I haven't seen them in years and years. And some of the staff in East Belfast and I had a contact over the street work recently. But I wanted to say how important it is that you take your own development really seriously, because there is a distinct body of knowledge and skill around restorative justice. And I would be asking this morning maybe to be going away thinking, how are you going to work to improve your own personal practice? Because regardless of how good an organisation is or what systems they have in place, I don't think that takes the responsibility of you personally. And if you're like me and you've been at something a long time, possibly, because I do this, I get a bit lazy and I think I know enough to be able to get by and that'll do me. I'm sure I'm really busy anyway. But being really busy isn't the same as developing yourself, in my view. So, a few key, for me, questions I'd be curious about for the organisation. Where are you now getting your training from? I think being trained internally is actually essential. It's obviously very practical and it's important, but I'd also say it's incomplete. In the wider world, for some people, training themselves has become like a service. And there are people across the water who are making life-changing fortunes out of training restorative justice. I feel they do it for the wrong reasons, and they offer models and approaches that are naive and simple compared to the experience and knowledge that you have acquired as an organisation. So you have a lot to offer in that area as well. Conversely, I would say, by the way, universities who made a small stake in this from around 2003 operate business models which I think are very unsatisfactory because they're based on fees. And also universities are often more interested in writing about things and telling people about things and helping people get on with doing things. And that's maybe a prejudice, but it's the view I have. I think that an organisation like yours attracts people who are committed, often because of their own personal biography. Whatever your background is, you want to do this work because you want to do it, and we all know that you're not getting paid money that's going to allow you to have 3 houses and 4 or 5 holidays a year and all those other sort of material things. And I think that people like you are very rich in life experience, and that really matters. Now, whether you were formerly involved in a conflict or not, or you're young and motivated to make society better and you're looking at this as a way in which you can do that, I don't know you all well enough to know that. And I would say that your life experience really matters. It does define you. But another thought I would say that also confines you. You can only know what you know until you go and learn and develop yourself. To draw only on, this is what I know because this is my life experience, is important, but I don't think it's enough. For any of us, by the way, not just for alternative staff, but for any of us. And I do think sometimes I meet people in the voluntary sector here who think that that's just because they've been through a lot, that alone gives them a license to be a practitioner. I'm not so sure about that. There is a big international community of restorative justice. I'm becoming more and more aware of it. And the more aware I become of it, the more careful I am about. I used to run around in 05, 06, 07 and would say we're world class here. I don't know, that's an embarrassing phrase. We're world class at restorative justice. I was sort of almost had an evangelical fervour. And that was whether it was in the voluntary sector or the statutory sector. The more I look at what's going on in the world, the more I realise we're actually part of a network where there are other people doing amazing things, and I've been doing some places far longer than we have. And I think that you have a lot to offer that community. I don't know what your connections are to it, but they also have a lot to offer you. So for example, I was in Vienna in a block of flats with all the weeks we're thinking about high rise. 4 high rises in a sort of quadrangle. 1,000 people. White, settled Austrians, massive Muslim population, legal and illegal immigrants, Jews. They had a mosque, an informal mosque, and a synagogue in the block of flats, and lots of trouble. And they were trying this organisation were trying to do restorative justice work, and I thought, imagine if that was Divis Tower, who would be responding to that and how would we cope? What have we got to teach them? Because I think there were some things that we're doing that were raw, but also what is in their experience that would help us as we struggle with a more and more diverse population. And I think in Northern Ireland, and I've done it, so I'm probably one of the flag bearers for this, we're sometimes very keen to say how great we are to the rest of the world, and maybe just need to be aware of letting the rest of the world into us as well. So, only 7 more pages to go. I'd be no surprise if I said education matters. So you would say that because you work in a university. I sometimes think I'm a great teacher. I sat with someone yesterday looking at an essay for the Restorative Practice course who lives about half a mile from here, and I thought I was really great. So we're looking through this person's draft, and I said, "What's the one way of saying that?" And they're going, I said, "What about the word substantial?" She said, "That's a great word." So she was typing over chat, and then I said, "Let me read through what you've written." And later on I was reading through, and she had written, where I'd said substantial, she had written, under my aunt. I didn't realise she was dyslexic. I do think education really matters, and I think that one of the things in this organisation is your leadership. We're very well educated, formally and informally, but the formal education I think does matter. And in the communities you work in, and I'm thinking particularly of the Shankill, for how long have we been talking about underachievement? And one of the things I think really matters, among many things, is that you have a workforce that models how it values education to other people. It makes you a better worker. I think if you get the right courses, it's enriching in your life. But I think that really matters, because if we keep waiting for the state to change, for example, education achievement, I think you'll be visiting my grave in Donegal. I have a lot of confidence in that getting much better in the foreseeable future. So here's a few questions that I've been asking police officers and prison officers recently, and I wonder how this fits for you. This is a couple of other things I've been doing around your own development. So see how you might answer this in your own head. When was the last time you read an article about your job? Do you have a personal plan for your own learning? Do you have regular supervision? And if you do, does it look at development issues and not just at management and monitoring of work? Do you keep a journal? How do you share knowledge from one place to the next in this organisation, or from one person to another? Do you have a succession plan for your leadership? And who do you talk to outside your own organisation who you trust, but who is critical? And then finally, I just want to say something about your environment. Is it 20 years next year since Good Friday? Is that right? Yeah. It's a really tumultuous time, isn't it? Like it's weird. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, and you feel life has become more unstable. You obviously all the succession of bad news stories, horrible stories in the news, but if you grew up here, you know what that was like locally. Maybe it's always been us, but this is for me a very important thing. Stability lies in civic organisations like yours. You are really, really important. I trust you. We're for just a government organisation and the voluntary sector. Now you can say that's a bias, or that's fair enough. So there's I think, a need for a sober acceptance. We're in a real mess, but that you have organisations like yours who remain committed to ongoing relationships, who offer stability, who don't get caught up in panics, and you have had, including over the last winter, some of those around parts of the voluntary sector. I think your concern with justice is one of the highest forms of ethical behaviour that human beings are capable of. And we need that model. We have a lot of unsolved resentments here. I go up and down the road, not every week, but I go up and down. Sometimes I walk up it, and sometimes I drive up and down and go for a walk. Just do it. It's always struck me, for example, this when I'm talking about the local area, the Shankill is adorned with commemorations of the past. And I mean, they're prolific. In the Shankill, it strikes me they're in a higher concentration from the bottom to the top of the Shankill than maybe any other part of the city, where they just seem to me to be a bit different in the concentration of them. what does the community want here, want to be restored to? And, you know, how does Alternative continue to be a voice on that? I think that's, you know, that's a very challenging, but you're a very important civic organisation.